By the early 20th century, electric light had conquered public space. Streets were illuminated. Factories glowed through the night. Railway stations shimmered long after sunset. But the home remained uncertain territory. Inside houses, candles still burned. Oil lamps flickered on tables. Gas mantles hissed softly in kitchens and hallways. Electric light needed to become gentle, predictable, safe. Early electric bulbs were fragile. They darkened quickly. They failed without warning. Replacing them was expensive. Engineers focused not on brightness, but on endurance. The incandescent lamp slowly improved. Filaments lasted longer. Glass quality increased. Electrical standards stabilized. Homes began to trust electricity. One room at a time. Living rooms were lit first, then hallways, then bedrooms. This changed evenings profoundly. Families gathered later. Reading became easier. Shadows retreated from walls. Electricity quietly altered domestic rhythm. Dinner moved later. Conversation extended. Sleep adapted. Engineers rarely spoke about this, but they knew. Light rewires habit. By the 1920s, electric appliances followed. Vacuum cleaners, irons, radios. Night became productive. Homes no longer fully shut down after dusk. City skylines reflected this change. Window by window, floor by floor, light spread upward. Urban nights gained depth, not just streets, but interiors. Electrical safety became critical. Insulation improved. Circuit breakers appeared. Standards emerged. Electricity learned discipline. Engineers established rules, voltage limits, load calculations, grounding methods. Homes grew safer. Confidence grew. Electric light became normal. And normality is powerful. Children grew up never knowing true darkness indoors. Parents planned evenings without haste. Night lost urgency. This domestic transformation did not arrive loudly. There were no celebrations, no public ceremonies, just switches, quiet clicks, light appearing on cue, and with each small success, electricity became invisible, which meant the system was working. By mid-century, homes in developed cities expected constant power. An interruption felt unnatural, unacceptable. Electricity had transitioned from innovation to dependence. The night inside cities was now structured, measured, controlled. Yet outside the home, engineers were still building. Grids expanded, interconnections multiplied, power grew heavier. And something new entered the conversation. Failure. Large systems fail differently. Which brings us to the next quiet chapter. As electric grids expanded, so did their fragility. Early engineers understood this instinctively. The larger the system, the more subtle the weakness. Small failures no longer stayed small. A single station outage could darken entire districts. A broken line could silence a city block. Electricity demanded attention constantly. One of the earliest large-scale blackouts occurred in New York, 1965. A protective relay tripped. Power cascaded. Lights vanished across the city. Millions were suddenly returned to darkness. Elevators stopped. Subways froze. Homes fell silent. The city responded, not with panic, but with stillness. Candles returned briefly. Windows glowed faintly. The sky reappeared. Engineers studied the event carefully, not to assign blame, but to understand complexity. Blackouts taught an essential lesson. Electricity is collective. No building stands alone. No light is independent. This understanding reshaped engineering philosophy. Redundancy became sacred. Backup generators were installed. Hospitals prepared for isolation. Control systems multiplied. Engineers designed grids that assumed failure and planned beyond it. Nighttime monitoring became critical. While cities slept, engineers watched. Control rooms stayed lit. Screens replaced gauges. Alarms whispered rather than screamed. The goal shifted. Not maximum brightness, but continuity. Gradually, blackouts became rarer, shorter, more localized. Cities regained trust, but the lesson remained. Darkness never disappears. It only waits. In modern times, electricity flows constantly. Data centers breathe power day and night. Servers hum softly. Lights remain patient. Yet engineers still ask the same questions. How much light is enough? When should it rest? The modern city glows carefully now. Not everywhere, in not all ways. Some lights dim late, others respond to movement. Smart systems learn behavior. Electricity has become thoughtful, and so has engineering. The story of electricity is no longer about discovery or conquest. It is about balance between light and dark, work and rest, connection and silence. Cities sleep differently now, but they still sleep, and somewhere an engineer remains awake, listening to the grid, ensuring that when the light is needed, it arrives, and when it is not, the night is allowed to return.
Once cities were reliably lit, engineers began noticing a new effect. Light was no longer just illumination, it was behavior. Before electricity, nights were shared. Entire neighborhoods went dark together. Sleep arrived collectively. Electric lighting fragmented the night. Some slept, others worked, others wandered. Engineers unintentionally created a new urban species, the night worker. Factories began operating in shifts. Electric motors did not tire. Machines ignored darkness. This changed labor permanently. Work was no longer anchored to daylight. In cities like Manchester and Chicago, entire industrial districts glowed through the night. Windows burned steadily. Smokestacks exhaled slowly. Engineers optimized layouts for night operation. Lighting angles, shadow reduction, minimum glare. The science of illumination emerged quietly. How much light is enough? Where light causes fatigue? Which colors calm? Warm light proved gentler. Harsh white strained the eye. Engineers learned that brightness is not comfort. Street lighting followed similar lessons. Early lamps caused sharp contrast. Dark shadows formed between poles. Criminal activity adapted quickly. Uniform lighting reduced fear. Not because it was brighter, but because it was predictable. Urban planners worked alongside electrical engineers. Night became a design problem. Electric trams and subways extended city movement beyond sunset. People returned home later. Entertainment flourished. Theaters stayed open. Restaurants adjusted hours. Music followed electricity. Cities stopped closing. They slowed instead. This disturbed sleep patterns. Doctors noticed changes by the 1920s. Insomnia increased. So did artificial routines. Engineers rarely received blame, but quietly they observed. Electricity removed a natural boundary. Darkness no longer enforced rest. Only habit remained. Some cities tried night restrictions, dimmed lights, curfews, limited advertising. Others embraced brightness fully. Skylines became identity. New York, Tokyo, Paris. Light became language. A city announced itself through glow. By mid-century, aerial views revealed something new. Cities visible from the sky. Islands of light in darkness. Engineers now designed night visibility deliberately. For pilots, for satellites, for mapping. Darkness retreated further, but never vanished. And in this tension, modern urban night was born. Electricity changed cities. War changed electricity. During the First World War, power stations became strategic targets. Lights revealed locations. Factories attracted attention. Blackouts were enforced, not by failure, but by design. Cities learned how to become dark again. Engineers devised blackout curtains, shielded street lamps, directional light control. London practiced darkness. Entire districts vanished nightly. Citizens adapted quickly. Eyes relearned shadow. Movement slowed. Silence returned. Electric grids survived war by flexibility. Damage rerouted power. Temporary repairs became permanent lessons. The Second World War intensified this knowledge. Cities across Europe darkened deliberately. Engineers worked invisibly, maintaining power, reducing visibility, balancing safety and secrecy. Electricity became both asset and risk. After the wars, cities relit themselves with caution. Brightness felt vulnerable now. Engineers redesigned grids for resilience, distributed generation, protected substations, redundant paths. The Cold War introduced another fear: total blackout. Nuclear preparedness demanded power continuity. Hospitals, command centers, communication hubs, backup systems multiplied. Diesel generators, battery banks, independent grids. Electricity had to survive the unimaginable. Civil defense drills included darkness. Entire cities simulated outage. Engineers studied human reaction. They learned something unexpected. Darkness was not chaos. Silence often followed. Fear came later, only when light did not return. This reinforced a truth. Electricity is psychological, not just technical. A lit city feels safe. A dark one feels uncertain. Engineers became guardians of confidence, not brightness alone, but expectation. By the late 20th century, most cities never fully practiced darkness again, but they remembered it. Emergency lighting codes emerged, exit signs, backup circuits, minimum illumination standards. Night safety became engineered. Electricity learned restraint, and engineers learned humility. Even the strongest grid can fail, which leads us quietly toward the modern question. Not how to create light, but when to let it go. As the cities began to glow, the night was never quite the same again. Electricity gave us safety, movement, and endless hours. But it also taught engineers the value of silence, darkness, and restraint. If sleep has found you, let the light fade naturally. If you are still listening, more quiet stories await in the still hours of the night. This is the Midnight Engineer. Good night, and let the city rest.